Hello and welcome to Newshour. I am David Patrick Kamara. Coming up in this edition of Newshour, parliamentary debate on the 2019 budget enters day 3. Environment Protection Agency and partners validate first national climate change adaptation plan. Artists from West African sub-region for EcoFest 2018 meets President Koma. And the Sierra Leone Road Safety Authority observes Road Safety Week. All these stories and more are lined up in this edition of Newshour. Welcome back and thanks for joining us for our first story. The Environment Protection Agency, with support from USAID and other partners, has validated the country's first national adaptation plan. The validation, which took place at the Kimbima Hotel, Aberdeen, saw stakeholders on environment protection making input into the document on measures that should be put in place for the country to adapt to the effects of climate change. Let's join Sheku Sumaila for the details.
The aim of the National Adaptation Plan framework is to identify and present objectives, principles, approaches, and structures which will lay down the basis for the process in the context of Sierra Leone. It also aims to identify medium and long-term adaptation needs, as well as develop and implement strategies and programs to address these needs, says the director of the Environment Protection Agency, Momodu Ba. He pointed out that climate change is a serious threat to the economy, and therefore measures on how to adapt to its effects must be taken seriously.
The essence is for us to have a plan that will have priority actions as to how we can make our country more resilient to the adverse impacts of climate change.
Tamba Emmanuel Nyaka is attached to the Climate Change Secretariat at EPA. He said the initiative to develop a national adaptation plan started 3 years ago during a conference in Togo, where opportunities were presented to countries that are vulnerable to climate change to develop national adaptation plans, which Sierra Leone has done, and the framework validated and soon to be presented at international level for consideration that will eventually attract funding. Dr. Alexandra Board is the international consultant contracted to work on the national adaptation plan.
Important for a country to have an app is to be prepared regarding the fact that the climate is changing, that we see more floods, more drought, the increase of the sea level rise, and hence it's important for the country to anticipate these changes and to be more resilient and less vulnerable in the future.
National consultant Dr. Reynard Johnson said latest report by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is not encouraging the reason for the plan to be thoroughly implemented in Sierra Leone.
You may recall that in 2006 to 2008, Sierra Leone actually prepared a document which was titled the National Adaptation Program of Action, NAPA. That document actually looked at the immediate needs of Sierra Leone to adapt to the adverse effects of climate change. And these were actually, this document actually targeted sectors and sector programs for the building of resilience in the various socio-economic sectors of Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone is the third most vulnerable country to climate change after Bangladesh and Guinea-Bissau, which makes it absolutely necessary for the National Adaptation Plan to be fully implemented. In December this year, environmentalists and world leaders are going to gather in Poland for the Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Reporting for SLBC News, I am Sheku Smaila.
Honorable Paramount Chief Baiku Kanagbaro Sankar III has called on the government to increase the budget allocation to the agriculture sector and to invest in the area of manufacturing, describing these sectors as job creation opportunities. Honorable Baiku Kanagbaro Sankar III was speaking in Parliament in the third allotted day in the ongoing 2019 budget debate. Ibrahim Samura reports.
Honorable Paramount Chief Baiku Kanagbaro Sankar IV compared and contrasted countries around the world that had invested heavily in agriculture and manufacturing. They succeeded as a result of that. Honorable Kanagbaro recalled that Jala University was established purposely to enhance agriculture in the country, but said they have diverted from that. He stressed the need to have think tanks and improve on the tourism sector, referring to the sector as an income-generating industry and financial institution.
The same people who wrote Baba to Kabos, are the same people sitting in that place. So, that means we are not progressing as a nation. If you look at the statistics here, they said here, income tax revenue for 2018 was 5.2% of the GDP.
Honorable Abdullah Sise of the APC noted that the amount of money the 2019 budget has allocated for the rehabilitation of the Matotoka Kono Road is not justifiable, saying it's a newly constructed road. He recommended that the money should be diverted to other road projects. Honorable Sise said the proposed National Public Agency will be a conflict of interest, stating that there is already a public health Sierra Leone which needs to be enhanced. He called on the government to establish centers of excellence that will help to diagnose diseases like cancer, kidneys, and other diseases.
You want to open an MRI, a cancer unit, in each and every unit, each and every region. Definitely, it is not practical because of the high cost that's involved to purchase one MRI. So ensure that you have the staff, the expertise to manage shots. It's a big challenge. Therefore, I want to encourage government to pay attention on establishing a center of excellency either here in the capital or in one of the regions. When you have one that is excellent, then we can use it to refer all our patients.
The debate on the 2019 budget is expected to end on Monday. Parliament has also approved another set of presidential nominees to serve in various public offices. 4 of the nominees are to serve as board members in the Independent Media Commission: Dr. Victor Suma, Reverend Christian Thomas, Professor Patrick Taylor, and lawyer Ansu Lansana. Professor Cecil Magbele File, Board Member, Tertiary Education Commission, and Jonathan George, Board Chairman, Sleeper. Presenting the nominees in the well, the acting leader of government business, Honorable Matthew Numa, said the nominees had met all the requirements, noting that they answer the questions posed to them appropriately. He appealed to the honorable members from either side to approve the nominees, saying that they are fit for their various appointments. Acting leader of the main opposition party, Honorable Ibrahim bin Kagbo, endorsed the presidential nominees, saying that the appointment of Professor Cecil Magbele File to serve as a board member at the Tertiary Education Commission is laudable. Honorable Ben Kagbo admonished them to bring changes to their various entities. SLPP's Honorable Mohamed Kane, Honorable Dr. Roland Fode Kagbo of the APC, and Honorable Hassan Sise APC called on the nominees to work in the interest of the nation. Honorable Kane called on them to strictly adhere to the call of President Bio for a disciplined leadership, demonstrate integrity and professionalism.
The EcoFest concert, organized by Kabaka Multimedia Entertainment KME, is ongoing this evening at the National Stadium, Brookfields. The EcoFest concert is sponsored by AfroCell and other partners. SLBC went around this morning to see how prepared KME is for the big show, which is the first edition in West Africa. Daphne Kemamakoli takes a look at the pre-concert preparation.
We're here at the National Stadium, the Siaka Stevens Stadium, to see how prepared is the KME for the EcoFest show. Now, the EcoFest show is not only to showcase Sierra Leone's music, it's going to showcase tourism, it's going to showcase our culture, and then of all, comedy. What Sierra Leone can show to the rest of the ECOWAS community. The EcoFest concert is organized purposely to unify the West African countries through entertainment. Artists like Kwame Eugene, Pato Rankin, Patapa, among others, were contracted by the Kabaka Multimedia Entertainment to perform at the Siaka Stevens Stadium to showcase their style of music. Kwame Eugene is one of Ghana's most popular artists, and he is well known for his recent hit songs Angela and Confusion, which most Sierra Leoneans appreciate and dance to. But how prepared is Kwame for tonight's show?
I came to Sierra Leone to have fun, to put smiles on the faces of my fans, so I prepared for this whole thing. I come to have fun with you guys. So some rock star kind of performance, Angela, Confusion, all the songs you've been hearing. Let's have fun together.
The issue of proper security when holding events at the Siaka Stevens Stadium is the main concern of Sierra Leoneans. This question I asked the chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Kabaka Multimedia Entertainment, Yusuf Dalhatu.
When it comes to security, I'm assuring you that security will be watertight. We've already catered for over 250 OSD, over 100 military police. So meaning wherever military police is combined with SSD, security is watertight. And if we're surveying.
Well, artists for EcoFest 2018 met with President Julius Madabio at State House. We'll bring you highlights of the meeting.
It was a way of showing that our nation is stable, international entertainment, and at the same time to turn the beam of Africa to us as a nation that is ready for tourism. In light of that, sir, before I conclude, I want to thank you very much for the appointment of Madam Memuna Tuprat as Minister of Tourism, and at the same time the Youth Minister, because within a short period I've seen the will, the political will to support entertainment. I've seen the climate that it's ready to invest in entertainment, and I'm very, very much happy and proud. That is why as a young man, I decided to leave the corridors of the court as a barrister that has practiced law for 10 years and to pursue this entrepreneurial venture. I believe that we'll get the required backing as time goes on, but as it is now, the environment is very much conducive to host such a program, and we are very, very, very happy to be here this afternoon. I am quite sure everyone is elated to be in your presence, and we cannot be much more obliged to say thank you very much, sir, for this privilege. I thank you, sir.
Definitely, we are happy to receive you this afternoon and to let you know that you are welcome to Sierra Leone, and we wish you the very best while you're in Sierra Leone. Entertainment is a huge field, and it's mostly for the youth of our society, and we have committed ourselves, my wife coming from that industry. We want to see what we can do as a government to provide an enabling environment for the field to thrive. So it is good that you are here this time around, and I am told even the Chief Minister will be in audience tonight. I have not confirmed yet. But I'll be watching from home. You know, I've been following actually. I listened to a track from the Liberian guy this morning and the one from our Sierra Leonean. Very nice tracks actually. So one, two, definitely. I think I've been talking about breaking our boundaries. Guinea, we should not care about French or English or that. And I'm happy that music is a universal language.
whether you hear it or not, if the lyrics or whatever the instruments are good, you dance to it. So I think you can be a set of ambassadors to actually break these boundaries they've created between the francophone and anglophone and so on and so forth. So as we think about integration at the sub-regional level, it is important that we have activities like this that can actually help to bring us together, know one another. And of course, tourism is a big theme on our, we have set our sight on, and we are going to work towards that. So welcome to all of you. Feel free, enjoy in Sierra Leone, and you are always welcome back. Thank you.
Recent reports on sexual offences are unpleasant, with toddlers mostly the victims. Even though there are strong legal instruments to draft the menace, the court is perceived as not doing much. This development has seen the president making strong statements, including the promulgation of more laws that will send perpetrators to life imprisonment. Princess Gibson takes a look at the trial of sexual offences by the High Court.
Even though there are existing laws to serve as deterrent to sexually related offences, daily media reports and incidents around such cases are disturbing. This situation poses questions around the effectiveness of law enforcement agencies, especially the courts.
The judiciary has placed extreme seriousness in dealing with sexual penetration cases. We cannot walk in line with public view. And if you ask people for now, they will tell you whosoever is convicted for sexual penetration should be castrated or should be incarcerated for life. We cannot walk in consonance with public view, because the Constitution tells us that Section 120 subsection 3, it says the judiciary should be subjected to the Constitution and other laws. And one of the laws that we are subjected to is the Sexual Penetration Act. You understand? It says the maximum sentence for a crime of that nature, irrespective of the aggravating or mitigating factor, the maximum sentence is 15 years.
The prosecution and defense teams are fundamental in the trial of any case. This has warranted the SLPC to contact the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. A close look at the statistics provided by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions on sexual offences completed by the High Court from January 2017 to June 2018 puts conviction rate at 20, cautioned and discharged 3, discharged 8, acquitted and discharged 1, amounting to 32 completed cases by the High Court. The 8 cases discharged were as a result of warrants of prosecution. Although the maximum penalty for rape is 15 years, most of the sentences for the completed cases ranged from 3 to 7 years in prison, except for one case that an 11-year sentence was handed down for sexual penetration, presided by Justice M.M. Sise and prosecuted by DPP Abdul Conte. Princess Gibson, SLBC News.
Well, over 400 people are killed and more than 1,000 injured or disabled annually due to road traffic crashes. In view of this, the 12th to the 18th of November is set aside to commemorate road safety, which is intended to review progress made on road safety in the country. Rose Kundima-Stevens reports.
According to UN Decade of Action Strategy, road carnage should be reduced by 50% between 2011 to 2020. Most of the vehicles are not roadworthy. Road deaths and injuries are sudden, traumatic, and violent. Their impact is long-lasting. To help reduce the menace, the Sierra Leone Road Safety Authority is out in the western and eastern parts of Freetown to teach road users on best road practices. Many of the victims can be young people, and these accidents could have been prevented if only road users adhered to road signs and traffic regulations. The roadshow, according to the research manager, SLRSA, Ambrose Tucker, was to educate road users, especially drivers and riders, not to use mobile phones, avoid overspeeding, go for regular motor testing, and get required seats, among other traffic regulations, to avoid accidents.
We're actually looking at the way we should reduce. There have been, from January to October, we have about 415 people that have been killed from crash. We have about 316 minor injuries, January to October. We have about 245 major injuries from January to October this year. So we as a state institution, we are going out today on a road show in order to conscientize people how to use the road. One of the major causes of accidents is it can be mechanical problem. It can also be human error, because we have a lot of drivers that are reckless in terms of driving. They overspeed, they not drive with the speed limit.
This Special Remembrance Day is therefore intended also to respond to the great need of road crash victims. It has also become an important tool for government and those who work to prevent crashes or respond to the aftermath. SLBC News, Rosconima Stevens.
The IMAT Community College Support Initiative, in collaboration with the Open Society Initiative for West Africa, OSEWA, has organized a street law public legal education program for pupils of the government model secondary school at Berry Street. The program is to educate the students on their basic and other rights. Cynthia Kamara reports.
Of the International Children's Day, the IMAT College Community Support Initiative, in collaboration with OSEWA, decided to bring school pupils together to create awareness. The purpose of the program was to enlighten the pupils of the Model Junior Secondary School about the Child Right Act, which was enacted by the Sierra Leone Parliament in July this year. The IMAT College educated the pupils on several sections on the Child Right Act, especially on the area to understand who is the child, the right of a child, the responsibility, the employment of a child, and the punishment of a child. CEO IMAT College, Amadou Justice Ba, educated the pupils about how the law have protected them from violence and abuse.
Women, you are not ladies. You are girls and you are boys. So that act that is protected by the laws. The law has brought about that act that protects you from violation, that protects you from abuse. What does that right say? And what is your responsibility towards the society, your parents?
Communication Officer IMAT College, Alpha Ba, outlined the rights of a child.
The right of a child to life, dignity, respect, leisure, liberty, health, including immunization against diseases, education and shelter from a child's parents. It's your right to be educated. Your parents should send you to school. That's your right.
At the end of the program, pupils were delighted for having the opportunity to understand the rights and responsibility. They promised to extend the sensitization to other schools. SLBC News, Cynthia Kamara reporting.
The Ministry of Basic and Senior Education has updated journalists on the procurement of textbooks for the free education and the 2018 Becker results. The update was done at the Ministry of Information and Communications weekly press briefing. Francis Daniela reports.
Since schools reopened on the 17th September this year, school authorities and pupils have been hopeful of getting teaching and learning materials. To date, core textbooks for the basic and senior secondary education have not been procured. Updating journalists, the procurement specialist, Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, Mohammed Kalon, said some of the books they procured are on the high seas and that they have completed the distribution plan for the procured books. He said they have done the procurement process for core textbooks which have been approved by the National Public Procurement Authority and that they have sent the documents to the Ministry of Finance for certification and continuation of the process. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, Nancy Tembe said.
Well, we move over to entertainment news. When it comes to comedy in Sierra Leone, and 5 top comedians' names should be called, the name Van Boy will not be left out. Before coming so famous, the name Van Boy was a character that he was playing, and he was also a dramatist and a dancer. He became a member of the Sierra Leone's leading theatre group called Kailondo Theatre. This group has decided to celebrate its anniversary in the form of a festival called Kai Fest, with one of Sierra Leone's greatest play, The Cry of a Country Virgin. Van Boy came to our broadcasting studio and was engaged by the producer of entertainment, Mohamed Kimilan Bangura, ahead of the upcoming festival on the 17th of November.
When it comes to comedy in Sierra Leone and 5 top comedian names are called, the name Van Boy will not be left out. Van Boy's real name is Ernest Brewer. Started his comedy career as a kid when he was a pupil at the St. Francis School in McKinney, and he later furthered his education at the Methodist Boys High School. Ernest said his passion for comedy has been his childhood dream. He was a member of a comedy group called Bintumani Players, which later changed because the group merged with another comedy group and they called One Pot Comedy Group. But one want to ask, where did he get the comedy name Van Boy?
I went on a research for a character. Then I came across this gentleman, and his real name was Van Boy. Wow. But oh yeah, he died during the war. He became very used to me, introducing me when we go from one village to the other. He would just say, and we look at my song for Saron. The real typical Minima doesn't call Freetown Saron.
Ernest Brewer, before becoming so famous with the Van Boy character, was a very popular dramatist and dancer. He used to perform in many variety shows, and he was a household name in terms of stage performance, especially with his Jerry Curls hairstyle. Ernest became a member of one of Sierra Leone's leading theatre groups called Kailondo Theatre. This group was formed by a few talented dramatists like David Vandi, and the director was Sel Johnson. Why was the group named Kailondo?
Well, it's historical, because when you study the story, when you go through the history of Kailaon, then you know that there was a warrior who came from Kailaon. So we decided to name the group Kailondo in order to remember this wonderful guy.
34 years after this group was founded, it celebrates its anniversary in the form of a festival called Kai Fest. This group will be celebrating this year's festival with one of Sierra Leone's greatest plays, Cry of the Country Virgin.
Look at your breast.
This story, according to Ernest Brewer, has a unique story and it's mind-blowing. He asked the general public to have confidence in our local theatre groups and call for support in their Kai Fest show at the Miata Conference Hall on Saturday, the 17th of November. He said it's high time Sierra Leoneans accepted our own and pleaded with the government to set up a special way to improve the theatrical industry in the country.
Well, that's our last story for tonight. To end the news, the main points again. Parliamentary debate on the 2019 budget has entered day 3. The Environment Protection Agency, EPA, and partners have validated the first national climate change adaptation plan. Artists from the West African sub-region for EcoFest 2018 have met with President Bio at State House. And the Sierra Leone Road Safety Authority has observed Road Safety Week. That's all in this edition of Newshour broadcast live on the SLBC. My name is David Patrick Kamara. Do have a lovely weekend. Goodbye.